Okay, honest question. Do you have any idea what you're even aiming for? Hi, I'm Mark from Valor Excel, and today I'd like to share some ideas with you about practical goal setting for your small business. Think about a baseball game on a field that didn't have any bases or any lines. It would be kind of pointless. It doesn't matter how much athletic skill the players have, they wouldn't know what direction to bat toward or to run, and the whole thing would just be a waste of potential. And that same kind of thing happens in our small businesses. We might have talent, ambition, and great ideas, but without parameters, we don't really know where to go. And that's where goal setting comes into play. Now, it's possible in the context of your business that you've heard about what is referred to as a SMART goal. Now, this philosophy of goal setting was created in 1981 by George Doran, Arthur Miller, and James Cunningham. And the concept of SMART goals is commonly used throughout the business world. Now, there's definitely value in applying that approach to your business. The acronym stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Your goals have to fit into those categories, and they're pretty self-explanatory. SMART goals definitely do have practical application, but the problem is they can wind up being a little too generic unless you can find a practical way to connect them to the specific nature of your business. They certainly can serve as a useful parameter, but you need to flesh them out in ways that relate directly to you, to what you're trying to do, and what you hope to accomplish. Goal setting is a key component of growing your business, but when you get caught up in all the demands of your day-to-day operations, it can seem pretty overwhelming to tack on the additional responsibility of selecting targets to aim for. Now, goals really fall into different categories, depending on the catalysts that drive you to establish them in the first place. Your business can establish developmental goals, which are along the lines of trying to grow your company by exploring new things or branching into previously uncharted territory. But then there are corrective goals, which address problems, deficiencies, or other items that are serving as obstacles to your basic daily operations. There are certainly exceptions, but more often than not, developmental goals tend to be more external, or client or customer-facing, and corrective goals tend to be internal or colleague-facing. It really comes down to the idea of crafting a goal from the perspective of how it will impact either those you work with or those you serve. From the perspective of enthusiasm, external goals that we create tend to be a lot more inspiring. They're usually tied to the idea of stepping into new areas that will help us to reach more clients or customers, or to have greater visibility in the market sphere in which we operate. Internal goals are less inspiring, as they often are put into place to help individual employees to improve their job performance, or maybe to make an overall course correction for the business as a whole. Internal goals aren't as rewarding as external ones because they're largely invisible to those outside of the organization. In some respects, they're the most critical goals that we make, though, because there's little chance for any substantial growth if there are ongoing internal issues that never get addressed. Ultimately, any goals that you set need to align with the mission and vision of the organization. Your mission is what prompted you to start the business in the first place. It's what you invest time, energy, and effort into each day in order to provide goods or services to others. Your vision is the projection of what you're doing now into some future time frame, whether that's a month or 5 years from now, that will be the logical outgrowth of you consistently fulfilling your mission during each day that you operate. Now, when you talk about goals, you also have to talk about deliverables. And I know that can sound like a corporate buzzword, but it really is something you need to consider. Deliverables are practical items that you need to anchor your goals to, whether they're internal or external. Deliverables are things that you're committed to doing as you operate your business. It's really about following through on the promise you've made to your clients or your customers. the promise of providing specific goods or services in some clearly defined time frame. If you have well thought out practical goals, then they also need to be connected to the very essence of what doing business looks like for you. Now, if you're wondering about examples of internal and external goals, let's start with an example of an internal goal. Again, these are the ones we're less enthusiastic about. They're not lofty goals, but they're necessary. The fact that they tend to be more about the maintenance of your operations than the flourishing and further outreach of the company means that they sometimes get overlooked. But establishing internal goals is really crucial to the success of your business, and they're oftentimes more tightly focused because they're often intended to correct an existing issue. Let's say that you have a team member who has the responsibility of compiling a report every Thursday at 2 p.m. Now, this person has a lot of other work they do during the week, and as a result, they continue to miss the 2 o'clock deadline because they have so many business contracts they have to review, things that were received on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So the first step in helping to set a goal is to determine if the workload this team member has is a realistic one. If it is, then the goal needs to be structured within the framework of helping that staff member to approach their job tasks differently, putting more emphasis on gauging what they need to accomplish on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in preparation for having time for that Thursday report. A practical goal for the team member might be to do a preliminary review of each business contract on the day it's received, making sure that they're not negatively impacting their other job responsibilities in the process. This will provide the employee with a jump start on contract review, rather than waiting until later in the week to begin the process of sorting through everything that was received up to that point. They're taking time each day to do a little bit, and that window of time now opens up an opportunity for them on Thursday to compile that critical weekly report. Now let's talk about external goals. Generally, external goals will be established in more of a proactive manner, as opposed to the reactive goal setting that sometimes gets associated with our internal goals. An external goal can also be one that you establish jointly with some other entity, another business or organization that you collaborate or partner with in the community. External goals encompass the greater growth and impact of your business in terms of your market visibility, client or customer reach, or maybe even a relocation of or addition to your brick-and-mortar establishment. Let's say that your company sells programmable digital signs for businesses to display in their windows, showing hours of operation, services, or product offerings, and other important information. So an example of an external goal might be centered around having your sales team explore different areas of the local business district to notate the number of digital signs in businesses versus standard signage. Based on your findings, you might establish a goal of contacting 75% of the businesses without digital signs on a particular street for the purpose of demonstrating the signs that you sell. Notice that a goal like that should be based on research first. Regardless of what you're trying to do, in-depth information gathering always is a helpful first step in determining what's realistic for you to undertake. So here are 5 things I'd like to leave with you. Some ideas to consider when you're creating your business goals. Number 1, goals may not be carved in stone. A goal may be well thought out and worth pursuing, but there can sometimes be unforeseen influencing factors that require the parameters to be adjusted. Even if you establish a goal with the best information available to you at that moment, the time frame that you originally determined might no longer be reasonable. Be sure to allow enough flexibility in your goals to accommodate unplanned variables and adapt what you initially worked out to fit the new parameters you're working in. Number 2, the best goals are developed collaboratively. Unless your business is a sole proprietorship, it's always best to get the input of others as you develop goals. You may have great experience and expertise with whatever area the goal addresses, but it's always beneficial to glean the input of someone outside of your thought process. An external perspective can help to identify aspects of the goal that you didn't consider, or to point to potential hindrances that you might not have anticipated when you first developed the goal. A collaborative approach also carries with it the benefit of helping your team members to be truly connected to the decision-making that shapes the direction of the business. Number 3, goals have to be clearly defined. As much as is practical, try to identify all the specifics of whatever it is you're pursuing when you set a goal. If it's too vague, you have little chance of reaching the goal in the face of any unexpected complications that might come up. Depending on the complexity of what you're trying to accomplish, it's also crucial to document what needs to occur logistically as you move toward the fulfillment of the goal. Detailed documentation also provides your employees with one distinct reference source for everything pertaining to the specific efforts they'll need to put forth in order to reach the goal. Number 4, not all goals are equally important. A goal that's related to business growth might seem like it's critically important, but it may fall into the number 2 slot if you have serious operational issues that need addressed first. Although it's completely valid to pursue everything possible to help grow your business, it won't really matter if you have procedural breakdowns that are negatively impacting each workday. This is another area where it can be incredibly helpful to get the input of others, as it might be difficult for you to prioritize a goal without the context of the perspective of other team members. They can help you to understand whether or not the approach is practical and how it will impact them in their daily job duties. And number 5, you might be pursuing the right goal at the wrong time. It's quite possible that you might end up crafting a goal that has tremendous merit, just not right now. You might be reaching for something that isn't quite practical given where your business currently finds itself, but that's definitely worth revisiting a year from now when you've more firmly established your presence in the local marketplace. Don't dismiss an idea if it doesn't fit today. One of the great benefits of brainstorming is that you can keep those concepts you create in a holding file for future consideration. All the goals of your business have to be relevant to where you are now and where you're likely to be tomorrow. So don't despair if a seemingly good idea doesn't quite fit. Its time may still come. As you can see, goals are the lifeblood of any thriving business. Without them, you'll amble along so wrapped up in the pressures of daily operations that you never have anything to work toward. Unfulfilled goals can certainly bring frustration, but even those that don't materialize can serve as benchmarks for how you're progressing as a business. If you're willing to invest in identifying and establishing them, goals can help frame all of your efforts in a way that helps you to always keep moving forward. But how do you know if you're on the right trajectory wherever you find yourself now? If you click on the link in the description below this video, you can download a free PDF called Taking Your Organization's Temperature. It consists of 30 statements about the health of your organization, and it'll tell you whether the approach you're taking is inactive, reactive, or proactive. If this episode was helpful for you, would you please give us a like? And in the comments below, let me know your experience with business goal setting. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe to the Valor Excel channel. On a regular basis, we publish new content that's specifically geared toward helping small businesses and nonprofits to truly thrive. I invite you to join me for the next installment. I really appreciate you being here today. Remember, at Valor Excel, we're committed to helping you do smart work. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye for now.